So in the second part of this, I'm going to start by gluing together these two side cabinets, and then the rest of the video is going to be how I make and attach my face frames. Now, like I said, those two back cabinets are extremely large. Transporting them and carrying them upstairs would be a nightmare. So those are all going to come apart into flat sheets. But these two side ones, they're not big. They're about 3 feet, a little less than 3 feet wide by only about they're less than 8 foot tall, and they're also only about 15 inches deep, so I could carry these without the backer without a problem. So these ones are going to get glued together, and these will also, this one will have a drawer on the bottom, and the other one will have all doors and drawers. So I want them permanently glued before doing any of the math for that, because once I take the back ones apart, they are going to shift and change a little bit, even if incrementally they will shift. And if I did that on these, all of my reveals would be thrown off. This is a pretty simple process. I just glue these together. I'm using clamps because you will see the sides of these. Usually I use screws. I put the backer on, square it up, and let it dry. The backer is going to be detachable, so that's not glued in place. And then I make a rough cut list for my face frames. Now, I believe I mentioned this in the last video. My face frames are really thick. They're about 2 inches thick. And that is because of the spans of these shelves, even though they won't be holding weight. The back part is all for hanging clothes. There's going to be a rod in place. Gravity will naturally pull these down over time, and I don't know if they're planning on putting anything on those shelves. They might. So I wanted a thicker frame so that these shelves don't sag. And in order to get that thicker face frame on the back cabinets, I had to put that on all of them. So all I did was I went through and I cut these down into 2-inch wide sections. I'm using poplar pre-milled from Lowe's. That is one of the more expensive ways to buy that lumber, but I could take it right to the saw and start cutting it. I've never had an issue with it being unsquare or anything like that. And it saves the customer labor hours, so it ends up working out. Now in the last video I said how I mounted these splines on this one was a mistake. And you could see what would have worked better is if that groove that I cut was on the inner edge so that this would fit onto the side. Now this is a mistake in the sense that this works fine this way. You'll see how it works, but I would have preferred that spline on the inner edge. So that also means that for the 4 vertical stiles on those 2 wing cabinets, the cut is different. So I went through and I made those first, and like I said in the last one, that was a 1/4 inch little tongue that's sticking up there, so I could put a 1/4 inch dado stack in my saw and get perfect accurate grooves cut into all of these. Technically this one's more of a rabbet versus a groove. And then I could go through and set those in place. Now the one part of doing it this way is all of my verticals are going to intersect my horizontals, so I have to make a mark and remove the tongue on some of the horizontals so that my verticals can fit. This is not a huge deal. I really like this method of doing face frames. So all I did was cut a bunch of curves in this material, and it's plywood, so it doesn't chisel as nice as hardwood, obviously. I just cut some grooves and then chisel this excess material away, and you'll never see the bottom of this anyway. It's going to be hidden by the face frame and the base, so I do have a little bit of blowout on that bottom edge, but that's not a huge deal. Could clean that up and then set these in place. Now because I essentially created a little bit more of a groove there, these do hold in place, even though it's just a rabbet joint, which was nice. So you could just kind of see how that looks there. I could tap in place and get that shirt up. Now for the horizontals, you could see what I mean by this was kind of the joint I wanted. Because that tongue is on the bottom, it creates a void, and this actually almost snaps into place. And you could see that the 2 center ones, even though that's going to be a double spline, is also oriented the same way. That's why I make sure to cut all these grooves at the same time If they're all the same, that means I could keep my saw set up in one position, and then I could go through and just repetitively cut the spline, and it will fit everything. So I always do a test cut, because if this is a little proud, or if there's a little bit of if they're too short, that would be even worse, because essentially you'd have to restart at that point, unless you want to start adding a bunch of putty to stuff. But I want the poplar face frame to be flush with the top side of that cabinet. I don't want it to be too high or too low. So I make sure to really dial that in before doing all this, so you don't have to do a ton of sanding. And you can see what I mean by this one now snaps into place because of that void that's created. It holds itself together a little bit better than those two edges. Like I said, those two edges weren't necessarily a mistake. I just would have preferred if that groove was on the inner edge. I'm not used to, usually with these cabinets, I'm making face frames and they're butted against the wall, so they do have naturally a little bit of a wing. I'm not used to making them where you see the edges, so that was just a simple oversight that was easily fixed. You can see that my test piece also fits on this middle spline, so at that point I could go through and start cutting all of these. And that is basically what I did. So I could go through and add the spline. I could cut, this was I believe for the middle one, so this is going to be a long piece. I am cutting these down to size as well, lengthwise. I don't think I show that. But these cabinets, this isn't 8 feet tall. There's going to be a little bit of a space at the top of the ceiling, which is nice. It's going to make install a lot easier, not having to worry about the top of it. So I do cut these down. And there's my outer edge on the backside cabinets. It's going to be the same process as the side, and I could just snap all these in place. Now these will all permanently get glued, but like I keep saying, this back cabinet's going to come completely apart. So for now it's just going to hold itself in place. Everything looks good there, and then you can see on the back side what I mean by having a wing. That's how I'm used to building, versus these ones that are going to be flush, and then this will butt up against the wall, and I left myself a little bit of space to scribe that to the wall. You won't ever see that joint either, so if it's not perfect on a build like this, the customer will never see it. The wing cabinets will be up against it. And like I said, it's just going to be a very similar process. This is the middle one, so it's getting the 2 grooves, and then that will snap into place as well. It will also make it pretty seamless. It's going to hide the fact that there's a middle joint there by making the face frame seamless like that. And that is basically what that looks like. Once, like I said, this is going to seem like a more involved process, but as long as you cut all this stuff at one time and it's symmetrical, going through and making the face frames is pretty simple. And I like how they hold themselves together as well. And then I could snap that one in place. So I do all the verticals first, and then I'll go through and do the horizontals. Now this will have a little bit of a gap because it's not glued at this point, but you can see I could close that gap with my hand. So once I'm in the space and I put glue on this and some brads, it should work out pretty perfectly. And then like I said, I could go through and now do all my horizontals. These cabinets are square, so that top is matching the bottom. In the middle, the bottom's only going to be 1 inch thick, which you'll see a little bit later. And I could go through and cut these out. Now I could set up a stop for this, but I just opted to measure all of them out. The reason I'm cutting these before putting the groove in them, I didn't just go through with all my 8-foot pieces and put the groove in, because this cabinet's also getting doors, and the way I measured out the materials was the tail end of some of these pieces will stay flat because I'm making the doors out of them. So I cut these 2-inch face frames from an 8-foot board, and I'm piecing those out so I could save the tail ends. That's why I did it like that. These are the bottoms. This was actually scrap left over from the cutoffs of the 2-inch pieces, and then I could just go through and pop all of these into place. Now another popular way to make face frames, and this is a very legitimate way to make these, is you make the face frame in one solid piece and then attach it to the cabinet. I like doing it this way because, like I keep saying, I like how this holds itself together. I find it to be a rigid, sturdy construction, and I transport a lot of this stuff, so transporting a full-size face frame, especially on a cabinet this size, would have been pretty hard to do. And then for the bottom, you could see that this plywood is already bowed, which is why I made this frame so substantial. The middle of this is practically touching my base. So I had to lift this up in order to put that bottom face frame on, but you could see what I mean by this plywood not being flat. Now this will hold it flat because now this solid piece of hardwood is going to be touching the base, but that is something to consider if you want really wide shelves. And then the baseboard will come up and cover the seam, because I made the baseboard a little bit more shallow than the base of the built-in's 5 inches, and I think the baseboard's 5.5, so it will cover that seam. Now this is one of my biggest problems with plywood, especially the plywood that you get nowadays. Even compared to a couple years ago, I find it's lesser quality, and that is that people think plywood's really flat. It's not. It all bows, especially these long pieces. You can see this one's out of square almost, because my poplar piece is flat. You can see this is almost out of square by 1/4 of an inch. Now that is going to be a huge problem because there's going to be doors and drawers on these, and if my opening isn't square, when it comes time to do the reveals for my inset drawers, it's going to be a nightmare. You can see it's flush at the top and the bottom, but in the middle it bows out. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to glue this face frame on just my verticals and clamp it, because you can move it with your hand, and it's all the same size because that middle partition as well as the tops are all the same. It's the plywood has the issue. Now if you put this where you have multiple shelves that are glued into place, that usually fixes that problem for you, but since there's such a large opening at the top, that's where that plywood bowed. So in order to fix that, like I said, I'm clamping these face frames in place. Usually they hold themselves in place. It's enough to just put glue on them, some brads, and then I could continue work. But for these, I really had to clamp these square. It saved me a lot of hassle down the road. I could let this set up overnight. I could come in the next day and remove those clamps, and you'll see when I spot this down the piece of plywood that this is now flat. So those are things that when you first start building, myself included, when I first started, you don't necessarily think about, but as you've done this a couple times and messed up a couple times, when I saw that mistake, I knew that I would make my life a lot easier by taking the time to separately glue those on. And then once that was done, I could go through and finish the horizontal parts of the face frame for this. Like I said, I'm cutting these in pieces because I'm saving the tail ends of this poplar for other parts of this project. But I kept my dado stacks set up, so it was easy. I just cut them down to size, added the groove, and then like I said, I really like this design because everything holds itself in place. And then these will all be glued as well. Like I said, when the backer comes off these cabinets, they're very easy to move. And then that is basically what that looks like. Then the one nice thing about face frames, besides adding structure to the piece, is that they just really make it look like a finished cabinet as soon as you add them to it versus the plywood.